Hello! So amazing to see you here today. It's so nice to have you with me today. We're going on a very exciting 7 day journey in unlocking the power of storytelling, right? How we can apply it to your brand, apply it to sales, apply it to your content writing, apply it to creating emotional connections with your target audience and every other thing you need to know about storytelling. You have to agree with me that storytelling is the current rave now in the industry of the creative economy. It's a rave for business marketers, operations, financial industry. I mean, everywhere you can imagine, even on social media, storytelling is a rave. And the reason being that it helps to create solid human connection. It helps your audience to know you, like you, and trust you. It's a very good tool for sales conversion. It's a very good tool for effective communication, and it makes your content less boring as regards unlike when people use facts and figures only to share information. It makes people glued to you. It makes people want to hear what you have to say or read what you have to say, and of course understand your values and your brands better. It helps you to position yourself as a thought leader and an expert in your field in a more interesting manner. Yes, so storytelling is the art of using narratives to communicate a message, right? And for brands, it involves connecting with an audience emotionally by sharing your journey, your struggles, your successes, and the core values of your brand. But before I go ahead, I'd have to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Ishioma Elora Ona. I am also known as the Chief Story Seller, LinkedIn Fixer, a business strategist, human resource practitioner, a leadership and executive coach, and of course, I have trained over 20,000 people for a couple of years. I've had a very wonderful corporate world experience for over 2 decades and recently moved into the creative space as a content creator and a writer, right? I've authored about 10 books, and I make it bold to say that when it comes to storytelling, I'm well versed in that area. So I'm here to guide you on this interesting 7 day journey. I hope you have fun. I hope you learn so much. And I trust that you'll probably hit me back with a message if you need to learn more. So moving on in terms of unlocking the power of storytelling. I just defined to you what storytelling is, which I go again is the art of using narratives to communicate a message. For brands, it involves connecting with an audience emotionally by sharing the journey, struggles, and core values of the brand. Now, why does storytelling matter for brands? Why does it matter for your business? Right? Why do you have to unlock the power? Right? Because it helps to build trust and authenticity. It captivates your audience attention. I mean, who doesn't like a good story? I love a good story. Okay, I'm sure for those of us that love watching movies, a good movie keeps you glued from beginning to end. Okay, right. So it makes your brand memorable because people remember stories more than facts and figure. I remember when I shared my first viral story on LinkedIn, where I narrated how in 1999 I almost got used for money rituals. I mean, it wasn't like I planned it. It just came as a sporadic thought. Let me just try and share this story, and it went viral. I was shocked, and of course, it led to consecutive other stories that made me evolve into what they call a storyteller. And I started getting comments like, "Oh, you're a storytelling queen, chief of storytelling, and oh, you've got some skills here." And I started honing my craft, working on it to get better at my storytelling skills. Right? So it creates an emotional connection, encouraging the loyalty of your fans, loyalty of your customers, loyalty of your clients. Of course, as long as you have the ability to pass relevant message across. Remember, relevance is really, really, really important. So it doesn't tell stories because you feel like telling stories, but it has to be relevant to the message you're trying to pass across. Especially if you're selling services or products, it has to be relevant to what you're talking about, right? and it differentiates your brand in a crowded market. I mean, I'm not the only sales and marketing strategist or business strategist. I'm not the only human resource practitioner. You are not the only social media manager, copywriter, or whatever profession that you are in. But storytelling, because your stories are your stories, right? You can't be telling other people's stories. I mean, unless you're sharing success stories and wins of your clients, presuming you have one. But when you are sharing your personal experiences, other people cannot share the exact same experience. Even if you were in the same situation, the way you tell the story, definitely there will be a difference. And this is what differentiates you in a market, a crowded marketplace. Okay. So, how can storytelling drive revenue here, right? So, storytelling increases engagement and conversion. And this is not just for business owners only, or entrepreneurs, or solopreneurs, or CEOs, or founders. It also works wonderfully well for professionals. It helps people to trust your brand and build some level of credibility for you. Now, personal and relatable stories help customers to identify with your brand, leading to increased sales or increased trust in your brand. And people buy based on emotions, and stories evoke these emotions. People buy because of how you make them feel, how your stories has made them feel, how your stories inspires them, how it's able to trigger that emotional connection, right, of that message you are trying to pass across, how your journey inspires them, how your struggles and your success or your core values makes them feel, yes, she gets me. It's also a very wonderful way of explaining the pain points, the issues, challenges, or problem areas of your target audience, your clients, your ICP, or whoever it is that you're trying to communicate with, right? So when you use storytelling to communicate and pass these messages, the level of understanding increases than when you use, big and complicated grammar, or when you're trying to explain some really intricate and complicated thing. Storytelling has a very wonderful way, of breaking things down to make it easier for people to understand you. Of course, remember that your story has to be relevant, it has to be clear, it has to be simple, it has to also be relatable. It means that whatever characters you use, plot you use, language, means of expression, examples, analogies you use have to be relatable to people's everyday life. It has to be realistic. So invariably, I'm not advising that you concoct stories or make your stories fictional. As much as possible, sharing your experiences, especially for your clients or your target audience, they relate better when you are authentic, when you are vulnerable. And I don't mean washing your dirty clothes in the public, if you get what I mean. I mean being honest, right? Being honest, showing a level of integrity, showing them your vulnerability, right? So be vulnerable, of course, there are boundaries you shouldn't cross, right? So I always advise when you are sharing experience stories, keep them as professional as possible, unless the people are exceptionally close to you. But for business, it's safer for you to just stick to professional experience stories. I mean, like what you faced on the job, trials and tribulations, if I may use that word, you used in growing up in your career, how you overcome obstacles, how you're able to become better at what you do, how you feel the pain or the problems of your target audience, and the steps with which you're going to use to get them required results when it comes to services, or how your products can take them from ground zero to sky high 100, and how long it's going to take for you to give them that necessary result. So all this can be won, right? All this, even pitches, sales pitches, can be done using storytelling, explaining statements of problem, and from there moving to the solution, right? And the process of the solution. All this can be done with storytelling, and that is why we say that there is so much power in storytelling. All right. So we move on to an example here of Sarah. Yes. So she's a struggling coach who wants to fill her coaching program, and she used storytelling to connect with her audience. Now, the reason why Sarah was struggling here was because she had a problem communicating with her audience, because it was just for her a matter of facts, figures, buy from me, my program will do this for you. You know, she was just screaming only about the features and not about the benefits. So when you are selling, always have it in mind that you should not sound too salesy when you are selling. Storytelling helps you not to sound too salesy. So when you use storytelling, please make more focus when you are telling the stories. Remember, I said relevance should be, emphasis should be more on the benefits rather than the features. Emphasis should be more on the results you are promising your clients rather than the futures, right? And when she was able to understand this, she used storytelling to connect with her audience. And it now made her clients transcend from knowing her to liking her and trusting her, otherwise known as the KLT factor. And once she was able to overcome that, sharing her own success and struggles, showing that she's human too and can feel their pain and understands their pain and is listening to their pain and is in the right position to solve their pain, her results became a 50% increase in sales, right? So the action plan here is one, identify your unique story, your which is what we call your why, your unique selling proposition. Why are you in the business of weight loss? Why are you in the business of nutrition? Why are you in the business of being a content writer, social media manager, or even a storyteller, a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, a project manager, whatever profession you are in? Write down your story. Why? What led you there? What was the journey like? How many years did it take you to get to where you were? What step did you take to get there? And then write down the three key challenges you've overcome, in this your quest or journey of getting to where you are currently. And then share your story with a friend or family member so they can analyze, correct you if possible, and of course, like I say, practice makes better, not necessarily perfect, because you keep working on yourself to improve who you are. And of course, as usual with my classes, I always like giving assignments. So share your story on your social media platform and tag me to comment. And of course, I'm ready to give you a thumbs up if you do a very good job. And I mean, if it's not so good, I am willing to correct you where you need to be corrected. Okay, so I hope you're able to get something from day one, and I'll be seeing you in day two class.